When we talk about change, we talk about how we're going to change the entire electrification of the U.S. And battery and energy storage becomes a major part of that, because if the sun is shining, we have to capture that while it's shining. The wind is blowing, we have to capture that when the wind is blowing. But there's a lot of disadvantaged communities in the U.S. that may not be the first ones to have their power come back on. And so VICARS is a good example of making sure that there's an energy storage system for everybody.
Lead BESS is what we call a battery energy storage system, and it's particularly good for its recyclability and its sustainability. And so for this example with VICARS, they had about 34 kilowatts of solar power on the rooftop, but they needed that resiliency feature, because if the power goes out, then people are going to show up there, and that's where really lead fits nicely. So we complemented that with 320 kilowatt hours, which is 3 days of backup for their food pantry and medical supplies and so on that they had to support that community.
Thanks to our solar power and battery storage, we'll be a safety net for our neighbors during power outages and also weather-related emergencies.
VICARS was not only one of the first places to use lead in a solar plus storage system, but it's also unique in the fact that it's a model for how a community can own the asset itself.
Thanks to an incredibly geeky and incredibly important part of the Inflation Reduction Act, and that is direct pay tax credits. And so it means for the first time ever that nonprofits like churches can get paid directly the value of those tax credits instead of having to go through an intermediary investor.
This past April, we announced 60 applicants would receive $7 billion to replicate similar projects that are happening just like here in Atlanta.
Imagine solar and energy storage projects very much like this one in your hometown. Projects built by local installers and electrical contractors, and that provide training for young people who want to work in energy.
We've seen what's happened when we let manufacturing leave the country, and now we have the opportunity to bring that back here. And we're an integral part of the supply chain, and that's going to contribute to energy security and resilience for generations to come.
There'll be a point in time where probably every house in America has some sort of battery system in it that is feeding in and out of the grid to use all these renewables. So you might as well start thinking about everything as an energy storage device.
A cleaner, a fairer, and a more resilient future is on our horizon, and the proof is right here in this Community Resilience Hub, because it takes all of us, y'all.